Yes.
How can we strengthen our intuition? I sometimes have a lot of trouble to know what my baby wants, and I figured my intuition was better, I could understand her better.
Okay. How do you develop your intuition? The way you develop anything else in this life, by practice. Now you got to realize intuition is not knowledge like reading something out of a book. So it's never going to be an absolute knowing. It's always going to have fuzzy edges. Now actually the more books you read, the more you realize how many fuzzy edges books have. But you have to know a lot of books before you really get that one. So you develop your intuition by practicing it. And then you check your feedback from the practice. So let's say that you're out of the room where your child is. Well, expand your spirit or send your thoughts or do any kind of practice that you know. And see what the child is doing. Is the child lying on its back? Is it lying on its stomach? Is it lying on its side? Is it awake? Is it asleep? What does your intuition tell you? Get the best feeling you can, then go check it. Now, if it's different, don't let that discourage you. Let that inspire you to pay more attention to the thoughts and feelings when you're doing this. Because we have two sides of ourselves where this knowledge is coming. It's coming directly to our body. But it also goes through all our mental filters, which includes our memory filters. And learning how to distinguish between what is a present moment awareness and what's being processed by my expectations. That's part of the skill to develop. Yeah? But practice is how you do it, paying attention. The question was, is your first thought the most intuitive one? Not always. Because so often we have habitual responses to things based on conditioning. That's right. And so the first thing you get might just be that conditioned reflex. So sometimes you got to learn to play with it and get the feedback. That's very important. Okay? Another way to try, if you want to, is get a bunch of envelopes. Get Andy to put in a bunch of postcards. This is one of the training systems that I use with people. Put a bunch of postcards in envelopes. Then pick them up and try to figure out what's inside them, what the picture is. And pay real close attention, because you'll learn something about intuition, because this part of you that does this, we call it your ku. It's like subconscious or body mind, because it doesn't always see things the way your conscious mind is conditioned to see things. So you may not get a picture of the postcard. You may get an associated memory. You may get a piece of the picture. So say you have a postcard. Oh, I see mountain. You look at the postcard and there's a lake, but there's a mountain way small in the distance. And that means your ku zeroed in on the mountain because it found that more interesting. You may pick up colors, shapes. I did this with a man one time, well, with a whole class, but this one man, because everybody gets something, they just don't know how to interpret what they get. But this one man, he got the letter K. And we looked at his postcard, and it was a picture of a park. So I just kind of did a mental shift and looked at the postcard, and I saw that the pathways in the park were shaped in as a letter K, if I pulled it up and looked at it two-dimensionally. And so his ku was picking up the letter K. That's what it saw. So be aware that you'll learn how your ku picks stuff up by practice.